From the beginning, Patricia was a really loyal friend, very funny, a good listener, and someone that you could trust.
I trust her leadership. Her vision is clear. And she has that, we call it in Hawaiian, ōpuali. So she has this indigenous intelligence that we speak from our na'au. That is a part of who she is.
She really cares about Hawaii. She cares about the history. She cares about the institutions that preserve Hawaii.
And she's interested in having everybody have a stake in that history and learning about their own histories.
For her commitment to preserving and sharing the foundational stories that inform and guide our present and our future, the Historic Hawaii Foundation is proud to honor Patricia Morgan as the 2025 Kama'aina of the Year.
One of my favorite quotes is from the author Sue Monk Kidd. And she said, "Stories have to be told or they die. And when they die, we can't remember who we are or why we're here." I am fortunate in the fact that I have all this history that has been handed down. I know so many people who don't even know their grandparents or their grandparents' stories. And that's what pushes me to say, we can't let the stories die. And that's all the stories.
If you really want to know where you're going in the future, you have to understand your past. And that's, I think, what drives our passion for, understanding the past, because it'll help you better figure out how to move forward into the future.
I think my love of stories started with my dad.
One of the things that was really fun about going to the ranch on the weekends was riding horses with Franny, and he would tell us these sometimes tall tales, but many really interesting stories, and stories about Hawaii, and even history lessons. I think Franny helped her to see how important history is to the understanding of land even, and of our place in Hawaii.
Dad started taking me riding with him when I was 6 months old. Stewardship started at a very, very basic level for me, actually starting with a horse. If you're going to ride a horse, you have to make sure that horse is your partner. And you have to make sure you take care of the horse so it can take care of you. And both my dad and mom were really large about stewardship. You have to take care of the āina. And if you do, it will take care of you.
Our great-grandmother, Julie Judd Swansea, was the one that consolidated ownership in the ranch. And then she had only 2 daughters, and one of them was our grandmother. And so Patricia learned from the purposeful and deliberate planning that these strong women had.
The strong sense of family in the Morgan family and the strong sense of history was carried over to her, almost like through her DNA.
One of the things I noticed right off was that she was incredibly passionate about the Daughters of Hawaii, about this place, Queen Emma Summer Palace, and about our mission.
My great-grandmother was regent for way longer than any other regent has ever been of Daughters of Hawaii. It was under Julie Judd Swansea that they obtained Hulihe Palace in Kona on the island of Hawaii. And that was being threatened to be razed and turned into a hotel. She rallied the troops at that era to say, no, we can't let this go.
The daughters saw what was the destruction of our traditions, of our language, of our place names. And so they formed this organization in an attempt to preserve specifically the traditions of Old Hawaii, the language and the nomenclature. That has evolved to include Hulihe Palace in Kona, Kauike'uli's birth site in Keaho Bay, and Hanaya Kamalama here in Nu'uanu Valley.
To manage 2 properties on 2 different islands is somewhat challenging.
I think that Patricia thrives under pressure. For instance, when she became regent of the Daughters of Hawaii, it was because she was serving as vice regent and our regent passed while in office. Suddenly she found herself in the role of regent. I think she had a similar experience at mission houses recently. She has this remarkable ability to focus in on what might be ailing the organization. And she communicates so clearly and effectively and pulls no punches. And organizations like these, volunteer organizations, need that sort of leadership.
What's good about Patricia is that when we want to do something, there's always a reason, and the reason is a story, whether it's the mission of the mission house and the legacy that it celebrates of the ancestors that are here. For me, it was the connection to Hawaiian language, connection to the history of our ali'i that are here, even the history of the overthrow that's here.
When I started realizing truly when I got on the board what we had and what the stories were. What I consider the absolute jewel is the incredible archive we have, which is probably got the biggest collection of documents, letters, newspapers, whatever, in the Hawaiian language of anywhere in the world. That's what keeps me really working down there hard at the Hawaiian mission houses, because we still have so much work to do to make that available to everybody.
She knows her sense of place. She knows her sense of place, whether it's the āina itself or her place in the environment and spirit of a place that she's working on.
My great-grandfather was an architect. So he built this one in 1895 for he and his family. He built the next 3 when his daughters were all of age and got married. So it's been a family compound ever since. Being immediately adjacent to Oahu Cemetery is given us, I think, a unique perspective.
To me, one of the fascinating things about that particular cemetery is how many monuments to Honolulu history is in that cemetery. It's incredible.
You begin to look at the individuals here, then it's this vast cross-section of personalities that people would know or recognize, whether it's Samuel Kamakau, who was a historian, Alexander Anderson, the songwriter, is here, Alexander Cartwright, who's the inventor of baseball. His grave is right out in front, and each one of them has their own story in terms of what they did and how they contributed to the islands.
Patricia's been on the board. She's really taken care of making sure that all of that history is remembered. There are history tours in the cemetery even.
We do have a perpetual obligation to maintain it. Perpetuity is a long time and costs change, but you have to plan for the next 100 years or 200 years. And that's the challenge.
When I think about the future of historic preservation, I very much look to Patricia's method of thinking, which is, it's a must. We all must do it. We all must participate. And there really is no choice in the matter.
The ongoing stewardship and maintenance of historic properties, I think, really rests on our abilities to start engaging, number one, our children. We all have the ability to be mindful and start planting those roots. And history is something that helps establish those roots.